Hello everyone, welcome back to Blooms and Bicycles and Merry Christmas. I can't quite believe it's that time of year again already, but there we are. And as we pedal into the winter time, the shorter days now grace us with icy blue skies and sparkling sunlight. Refracting as it passes through the sugar dustings of frost and icicles alike, it creates an iridescent effect with flashes of golden tones, pearlescent pinks and cooler greens, which can now be seen upon the sprigs of evergreen and the bare branches of nature which now lie dormant, and together twinkle against the cold white rolling mists. Now also the time for the festivities of Christmas, these winter wonderland days make the perfect reason to gather around the crackling fire and keep warm with the ruby red treats of mulled wine and cranberry-flavoured foods. Taking inspiration from the magical moments of the holiday season, we bring to you the Christmas Winter Wonderland flower collection. In today's video, we'll be sharing with you how to construct the Christmas Winter Wonderland large letterbox flowers. And today our water vessel is already prepared with the water and the flower feed. However, if you would like to learn how to prepare your flowers to make them last as long as possible, you can find the link in the description box below to our flower care video. So to construct the grid, as we always do, we'll take the strongest of stems. In this collection they are the pine, which comes in this beautiful cool green, and the gold ilex. So to begin with our pine, which has a number of offshoots, you have the option of either leaving it just as it is, which will already be significantly trimmed down just so we can actually fit it in the letterbox that gets delivered to you, or you can actually trim away the offshoots and have a greater distribution of the foliage throughout the water vessel. So actually, I think we'll be doing the best of both today. We'll leave this stem as it is because that's nice and upright and nicely balanced. However, this long sweeping piece, we will trim this away. So we'll just start by cutting away some of those shorter stems, and maybe we'll leave the main two. So we'll fit this in our water, and then we'll take that other large piece, take away any needles which will fall under the watermark. They're just really easy to strip away. And then weaving this in between the branches of the other piece to start weaving our grid together. This just offers extra support for this very tall stem. And now to take those offshoots, we'll use these around the opening of the vase, just by creating lots of small sweeping pieces which create that burst effect we always talk about. Ensuring they are just in the water is enough, so we just need to always make sure the water vessel is topped up regularly. And now for the gold ilex. It's like a piece of jewellery, isn't it? So we'll just weave this in to the central area, so it has prime position in the display. It is a very top heavy stem because of the amount of berries on the branches, so just keep wiggling it into a space within the grid that gives it all of the support it needs. And some of these branches towards the back we will just snip away, and we'll just also use these later on to fill any negative spaces. And now just to take our other pieces of gold, which in this collection are this gold glittery Pinecone, this gold cedar rose, and this rose gold skimmer. So first we'll build out our triangle of gold. Already having introduced the ilex, we'll just now add the cedar rose and the Pinecone on opposing sides towards the front and back. So just gently weaving it into our grid. You might just wish to reduce the height so that the angle allows the flower head to be more visible. And with our Pinecone, we'll keep this at the length it is already and position it in a mirror position at the back as we've just said. And now to take our rose gold skimmer, which you can just leave as one stem as it comes to you in the box, or you can trim away the offshoots so that you have more of a distribution of this metallic colour running throughout. that's what we'll do today. So we'll just weave in between the gold pieces our rose gold stems. The two offshoots are naturally shorter than the main stem, making those the best pieces to have off to the front left and front right, and introduce this towards the back. It might mean that you have to fill your water vessel up more than it was filled originally to ensure all of your stems are getting what they need. However, that's fine. As long as the design goes in the way you want it to be, that's the main thing. And now to take our snowy branches. In this design you will receive 3, and they are dried cherry blossom dusted with snow. So what you might find is that some offshoots need to be trimmed away, so not to disturb what's been arranged in the grid so far. So repositioning the Ilex back into its original place. We'll then add our second piece of snowy branch. And now, introducing the third, we'll weave this in on the far side at the very front left-hand area. Because this is such a long wavery stem, it will just mean it sits relative in length and height to the other pieces added so far. And now to add our mottled pink and green Berzelia. In this design you'll receive 2 pieces, so we'll just find gaps on both the left and right, somewhere towards the middle section of the grid. Making sure not to drown out the snowy stems just added now, or any of the beautiful metallic pieces. We just want to make sure they offer a backdrop to those other showstoppers. So now to add our other snowy stems, which are this beautiful unusually shaped variety of Amaranthus. And if you've ever seen other varieties of Amaranthus, I'm sure you'll agree this is not like the others at all. So it definitely adds an element of surprise to the design, which again is always what we want to do to help keep the eye moving throughout. And then these beautiful snowy white garden style roses, which swirl beautifully like a kaleidoscope. And then also our Eustoma, which is this beautiful ice white on the base of the petals, and then looks like it's been dipped in cranberry sauce at the tips. Again, just offering graduation into the more magenta and cerise tones, which we've added so far, and which have more yet to come. So first we'll add the roses. And because there's 3 of them, we'll create a triangle, trimming each one to a different height. So with the longest one at the very back, and then trimming down significantly more our second rose, we'll just find a gap that allows this one to sit off to the side. This Berzelia now looks like it's slightly too long, because what we don't want to do is overpower the rose. So we'll just allow the rose to sit, trim some more away from the Berzelia, and add this behind the rose, again so it offers contrast and depth. And in a similar way, we'll take our final one, and we'll just add this on the other side, gently finding a gap in our grid, but doing so in such a way where it complements what's already been positioned to ensure it doesn't dominate. And now for our Eustoma, which comes as one piece. As we always say, you can cut away the offshoots and have more of a distribution of the flower running throughout the design, or you can leave it as one. Today I think we'll actually leave it as one, because we already have some heavy pieces running throughout, so it will complement these very well. So trimming on the angle at the very base of the stem, just to freshen it up. We'll then add this also towards the back, behind our snowy stems, so that the delicacy of the green leaves offer real contrast against the bare branch. And now for those lovely pieces of Amaranthus. So again, we'll just take anything away which will fall under the water line and dot these in between. They actually look like they've just withstood a snowdrift. Maybe this one, being so tall, will look quite nice towards the back, alongside the Eustoma just added. If we cut this relatively short to the other two, being such a thin stem, it will be very easy to add at the front, just to create that overall balance again. And now to take our icy pink flower stems, which are this beautiful variety of Brassica, which, as you can see from the central point, has a beautiful lilac-y pink colour, which then ties in very well with the other variety, which is this beautiful soft pink rose. So we have 1 Brassica and 3 roses. So working again to the magic of the numbers 3 and 1, we'll create a triangle with the 3 roses and position the Brassica as a showstopper piece in the centre on its own as the 1. So just allowing this pink rose to tumble over the top of the gold Ilex. As 2 colours together, they complement each other very well. So actually, if you do position some pink pieces as close to the gold as possible, it will just really help lift each of the colours. And now to add our final one. This has now been trimmed down significantly more so that it doesn't sit at a similar height to the roses around it. And now to add our ruby red flowers, which are this beautiful variety of chrysanthemum, which almost looks like a deep claret red wine colour and has this fuchsia pink undertone to it, which is exactly why we've chosen it for this collection. Because of this pink undertone, it allows for the graduation from the pinks into the reds. And on that note, we also have as our third piece of red, this gorgeous Scabiosa in a deep winter cherry red. And as you can see, it's got a really unusual flower head to it in comparison to other Scabiosas that you would usually see. It's gorgeous. So because the chrysanthemums are bigger stems, we'll add these 2 first. So again, trimming one down a whole lot more than the other. We'll add this piece in the centre between the pinks and the golds. And taking away any leaves, that will fall under the watermark. With our other piece, we'll keep this very long in comparison and allow this to sit in the grid on the opposite side at a much higher point. We now have a nice distribution of red off to the back on one side, with a distribution on the other side in the middle area, which now leaves this negative space in the very front on the opposing side as the perfect place to add our Scabiosa. So we'll trim this down significantly and thread this in. And at this point, what we'll actually do is lift the pine and thread the Scabiosa in underneath, and by allowing the pine to sit on top of it, it will actually help to anchor the Scabiosa into the perfect place. Now some of these other shorter pine stems have moved, but this is okay. We'll introduce those again in a moment. So on the subject of shorter stems for the front, we'll now take this opportunity to add this beautiful mottled pink Helleborus, which complements gorgeously the Berzelia added earlier on, and our mistletoe, which, let's be honest, it's Christmas, we're talking about winter whites, why wouldn't you? This Helleborus is so beautiful when it's a full open bloom, as you can see. So we really want to make sure it has its opportunity to be seen. So we'll just add this in here. And now with our mistletoe, with the large letterbox flowers, you'll receive 2 pieces. So one can go off to the left by threading it in just over the opening of the vase in a place where the grid allows. And then add the other one in on the opposite side. Again, just threading it in where it's able to go. And whilst we're also on the subject of these mistletoes, be very careful with these berries which take on a real glue-like consistency if they get squashed. So just be mindful of it and take extra care with any work surfaces or clothing garments that you would like to protect. So to come in with our final pieces of pine, we'll just look for any negative spaces that need to be filled, as it does offer the perfect backdrop to flowers. And now that looks like a very wild but balanced design. And as our one final touch, we'll take our Charles Dickens Christmas Carol book and prop our flowers up, just for that extra festive touch. And there you have it, the Christmas Winter Wonderland large letterbox flowers. I hope you have a lovely Christmas and we can't wait to see you in the new year.